My name is Zoila Torres, 32 weeks pregnant. My husband, the VP of a multi-billion pharma company, locked me inside a negative 50-degree Celsius vaccine vault. He watched on camera as my body froze, as my baby's heartbeat slowed. He thought the cold would kill us quietly. He was wrong. I survived. My son Luca was born premature, alone in that frozen hell, and I kept him alive with nothing but my body heat. Today, his company is bankrupt. His mother is in prison for 15 years, and I turned their cold into my fire. This is how one pregnant whistleblower took down an empire. Stay with me. This story is worth freezing for. But that night in the vault didn't start on November 19th. It started 3 weeks earlier, October 28th, 2025. A routine database audit, and 12 patients who shouldn't have been missing. October 28th, 2025, 10:14 p.m. I was a clinical research coordinator at BioShield Therapeutics in Minneapolis. We were running Phase 3 clinical trials for VaxShield 9, a vaccine that could be worth $890 million in FDA approval and market share. My husband Ethan was VP of Clinical Operations. Brilliant, ambitious, driven. His mother Victoria, former CEO, had built the company with her late husband, still owned 38% of shares, still pulled strings from her advisory position. I loved them both, trusted them both. That was my first mistake. I ran a standard database query that Tuesday night. Quality control audit, something I'd done hundreds of times. Official FDA submission file, 1,823 enrolled patients. Perfect match with our trial enrollment. Then I checked the backup server. Just routine cross-reference. 1,835 records. I blinked, ran it again. Same result. 12 patients in the backup that weren't in the official submission. Not archived, not transferred to a different trial. Just missing from the FDA file. I pulled up the discrepancy list. Patient 0284, enrolled June 3rd. Exited trial June 18th. Exit reason, blank. Patient 0291, enrolled May 28th. Exited June 12th. Reason, blank. All 12 had blank exit reasons. That never happened, never. Exit reasons were mandatory. Protocol violation, adverse event, voluntary withdrawal, lost to follow-up. Something always went in that field. Blank meant someone manually deleted it. My coffee went cold beside my keyboard. I didn't know it yet, but I was looking at the beginning of the end. I pulled patient 0284 from the internal archive system, the detailed files we kept for audits but didn't submit to FDA unless requested. Rebecca Kowalski, female, 31 years old. Baseline health assessment, excellent. No cardiac history. No family history of heart disease. Marathon runner. Baseline ECG, normal sinus rhythm. Vaccination date, June 3rd, 2025. VaxShield 9, Lot B, 4482. Day 14, post-vaccination. Ventricular fibrillation. Cardiac arrest at home. Husband called 911. Transported to Hennepin County Medical Center. Admission number HC 28493. Emergency cardioversion. ICU admission. 6 days intensive care. Discharge day 20, alive. Full recovery expected. According to our official FDA safety report submitted September 15th, Rebecca Kowalski didn't exist. Her cardiac arrest, 14 days after our vaccine, never happened. I felt something cold settle in my chest that had nothing to do with the office air conditioning. I checked patient 0291. Michael Torres, male, 28, healthy. Day 9 post-vaccination, massive pulmonary embolism, hospitalized 11 days, survived. Official FDA report, never existed. Patient 0356, Sarah Jensen, 34, healthy. Day 6 post-vaccination, anaphylactic shock. EpiPen administered. ER visit. Overnight observation. Official FDA report never existed. I went through all 12. Seizures, Guillain-Barré syndrome, severe allergic reactions, blood clots, one more cardiac event, all within 21 days of vaccination. All severe adverse events that should have been reported to FDA immediately under federal law. All marked in our internal system as exited trial, administrative reasons. No medical notes explaining why they left. No follow-up documentation. Just gone. 12 human beings erased from existence. I checked the metadata on every single deleted record. System logs don't lie. All 12 adverse event entries were purged from the FDA submission file on the same night. November 2nd, 2025, 23 hours, 47 minutes, 13 seconds. User ID, EC_admin. Ethan Caldwell, my husband. IP address, 10.52.18.9. His office computer on the 3rd floor. Deletion method. Permanent purge with admin override. No recovery possible from the main system. That's why they were still in the backup. The backup ran on a 48-hour delay cycle. By the time it updated, someone had noticed the discrepancy and locked the backup from further changes. Someone at BioShield knew, and they'd protected the evidence. I sat in the dark. Just the hum of servers around me. The building empty except for me and the night security guard 5 floors below. I remembered November 2nd. A Tuesday. Ethan came home around 11:30, later than usual. Said he'd been catching up on paperwork. I'd made him chamomile tea. We sat on the couch. He put his hand on my belly. I was 29 weeks pregnant then, and smiled. "Baby's getting big," he'd said. "Strong kicks tonight," I'd replied. He'd kissed my forehead. "Just tying up some loose ends at work. Big FDA submission coming up. Want everything perfect." Perfect. I'd gone to bed. He'd stayed up working on his laptop in the living room. I'd thought he was being thorough, dedicated. He was deleting people. 12 people who'd trusted us, who'd volunteered for our trial, who'd nearly died, and he'd erased them like they were typos in a spreadsheet. I knew there had to be more. Ethan wouldn't do this alone. He was methodical, risk-averse. He'd need approval. I accessed the backup server's archive folders, the ones most people didn't know existed. Found a directory, archive_final_do_not_touch. Inside, one audio file, executive_meeting_October30.wave. Duration, 18 minutes, 32 seconds. Recorded, October 30th, 2025, 16:15 hours, Conference Room B, the day before Halloween. 3 days before Ethan deleted 12 patients. I plugged in my headphones, pressed play, static, then voices. "Ethan, we have a problem. 12 severe adverse events in the first 600 participants. Cardiac, pulmonary, neurological, all within 3 weeks of vaccination." Silence. Gerald Finch, CFO. I recognized his nasal voice. "What's the statistical significance?" Ethan. "Not significant yet. 1.9%. But if the pattern holds through full enrollment, we're looking at 35 severe events total. FDA will want additional Phase 4 monitoring. Could delay approval by 18 months. Another voice, female, older, commanding. Victoria, my mother-in-law. 18 months? We lose the market window. Competitors will have vaccines approved before us. Gerald. Stock price projections had us at $48 per share on FDA approval. Delay means we drop to maybe 32. We're talking $400 million in lost market cap. Ethan. I know, but we have to report these events. Federal law, 21 CFR 312.32. Adverse event reporting is mandatory. Silence. Long silence. Victoria. Ethan. Your father built this company from nothing. He died believing you'd carry his legacy forward. VacShield 9 is our future. $890 million in projected revenue over 5 years. FDA approval means we save thousands of lives. Pause. Are we going to let 12 people, 12 out of 1,800, destroy that? Destroy everything your father worked for? Ethan. Mom, Victoria. How many people die every year from the diseases this vaccine prevents? Thousands, tens of thousands globally. We save those people, but only if we get approved. Only if we don't let 12 statistical outliers derail everything. Gerald. If we report all 12 events, FDA flags us for safety review. Trial gets suspended. Competitors gain ground. We lose funding. We might not recover. Another long silence. Ethan's voice quieter. What are you suggesting? Victoria. I'm suggesting we prioritize the greater good. 12 patients versus thousands of lives saved. Your father would have made the hard choice. Ethan. You mean not report them? Victoria. I mean, we reevaluate the data. Determine which events have clear alternative causation. Pre-existing conditions we might have missed. Coincidental timing. Many adverse events in trials aren't actually caused by the vaccine. Gerald. We could reclassify them as unrelated. Remove them from the safety dataset. Ethan. That's fraud, Gerald. That's federal fraud. Victoria. That's protecting thousands of future patients who need this vaccine. That's ensuring your father's company survives. That's your legacy, Ethan. Longest silence yet. Then Ethan. I already handled it. My hands went cold. Victoria. You what? Ethan. I pulled the 12 records from the submission file 3 days ago. I was waiting to see if we'd find alternative explanations. Now I'm thinking, maybe we don't need to. Victoria. Good. That's good thinking. Gerald. What about internal records? Audit trails? Ethan. I'll clean those up too. We're running audits this week anyway. I'll make it look like administrative cleanup. Victoria. And the coordinator who runs those audits? Brennan? My name. My maiden name. Before I married Ethan. Ethan. Zoila. She's on modified duty. 32 weeks pregnant. Doctor's orders. Light work only. She's not looking at old files. She's focused on current enrollment. Victoria. Keep it that way. After the baby comes, we'll transition her to a different project. Something forward-facing. Gerald. What about the patients themselves? The 12 who had events? Ethan. They signed NDAs, standard trial participation agreements. They can't discuss their participation publicly, and they all recovered. They'll move on. Victoria. Then it's settled. We protect the trial. We protect the company. We get FDA approval. We save thousands of lives. This conversation never happened. Sound of chairs scraping, meeting ending. The recording stopped. I sat frozen. October 30th. They'd planned it. November 2nd, Ethan executed it. November 18th. Weeks later, after I'd discovered everything and reported to FDA, Ethan came home early and warned me about doing something irreversible. He knew I knew. And that recording? That was my insurance. My hands shook as I inserted a USB drive into the computer. I copied everything. 12 patient files, complete medical records, adverse event reports, hospital admission records, discharge summaries. The 18-minute audio recording from October 30th. Complete deletion logs from November 2nd. Metadata, timestamps, user IDs, IP addresses. The official FDA submission file from September 15th, showing 1,823 patients missing all 12. The backup server file showing 1,835, proving they'd existed. Email chains I found between Ethan and Victoria discussing data cleanup and streamlining the submission. Everything. File transfer, 851 megabytes. I watched the progress bar. 80%, 90%, 95%. Complete. I ejected the drive, slipped it into my coat pocket. 10:38 p.m. Shut down the computer, cleared my access logs. I knew how. Part of my job was system administration. Walked out of the office, smiled at the security guard. Working late on the audit. Baby brain. Takes me twice as long to focus these days. He laughed. My wife was the same way. Get some rest, Ms. Caldwell. Ms. Caldwell. I drove home. Ethan was already asleep. I hid the USB drive inside a tampon box in the bathroom cabinet, place he'd never look. Then I lay awake all night planning my next move. November 16th, 19 days later, I sent an encrypted email to the FDA Office of Criminal Investigations from a coffee shop 3 miles from our house. Used a Proton Mail account I'd created on a burner laptop I'd bought with cash. Subject: VacShield 9, Phase 3. Data fabrication. 12 adverse events concealed. Body text: I am a clinical research coordinator at BioShield Therapeutics, Minneapolis, Minnesota. I have evidence of intentional deletion of 12 severe adverse events from FDA submission documents for VacShield 9 Phase 3 trial. Events include cardiac arrest, pulmonary embolism, anaphylactic shock, seizures. Deletion timestamp: November 2nd, 2025, 23:47. User: EC_admin, Ethan Caldwell, VP Clinical Operations. I will submit full documentation within 72 hours. This is urgent. Lives are at stake. I hit send. 8:23 a.m. November 16th, 2025. 3 seconds later, automated reply. Your report has been received. Case number assigned: FDA-WB-112584. An investigator will contact you within 5 business days. If you are in immediate danger, contact local law enforcement. Your identity will be protected under the FDA Safety Reporting and Whistleblower Protection Act. I exhaled. I'd done it. What I didn't know: Ethan had installed commercial-grade keylogger software on our home laptop 2 weeks earlier. Not the burner. Our regular shared laptop. He'd seen me research whistleblower protection laws. Search for how to report FDA fraud anonymously. Look up Proton Mail encryption. He didn't know exactly what I'd found yet, but he knew I was digging, and he knew I was dangerous. November 18th, 1841. 2 days after I sent the FDA email, Ethan came home from work early. Very unusual. He normally worked until 8 or 9. He found me in the nursery. I was folding baby clothes. 32 weeks pregnant. 2 months to go. Hey, he said, voice soft, gentle. Hey, you're home early. Wanted to spend time with you before baby comes and we never sleep again. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. He sat on the rocking chair, watched me fold a tiny onesie. You've been stressed lately, he said. Pregnant, tired, normal stressed. I think maybe it's more than that. He leaned forward. I've been worried about you, Zoe. You've been working too much. Modified duty is supposed to be light work, but I know you. You don't know how to do anything halfway. I kept folding, didn't look at him. I'm fine. Are you? Pause. I saw you've been looking at old trial files, going through archived data. My hand stopped moving. That's not really your job anymore, he continued, voice still soft. You're supposed to be focusing on current enrollment, light administrative work, not diving into database management. Just being thorough. Thorough is good. But he stood, walked closer. I'd hate for you to find discrepancies that aren't really there. Pregnancy brain is real. Your doctor said so. Hormones affect cognition, memory, pattern recognition. He was close now, put his hand on my shoulder. I'd hate for you to do something based on faulty information. Something you can't take back. Something irreversible. Irreversible. The way he said it, like a threat wrapped in concern. I turned, looked at his face. Really looked. Jaw tight, eyes avoiding direct contact, shoulders tense. What are you saying, Ethan? I'm saying take your maternity leave early, this week. Focus on preparing for baby. Let me handle work. That's what husbands are for, right? He smiled again, squeezed my shoulder. I love you. I'm just worried about you. Stress isn't good for the baby. Then he left the nursery. I stood there holding a onesie that said, Daddy's Little Scientist. My heart was pounding. He knew. Maybe not exactly what I'd found. Maybe not that I'd reported to FDA. But he knew I was digging, and he was warning me to stop. That night, I moved the USB drive from the tampon box to inside a box of panty liners inside my hospital go bag. Ethan would never look there, and I waited. November 19th, 2212. I was asleep. Phone rang. I grabbed it, groggy. Hello? Zoila. It's me. Ethan, but not calling from beside me in bed. I looked. His side was empty, cold. Where are you? At the office? Emergency? I need you to come in. I sat up. What? It's 10 at night. I'm not supposed to. Vault C3. Temperature sensor malfunctioning. Reading -70. Vaccine batches worth $12 million at risk of thermal damage. I need you to physically verify the inventory and temp. Make sure the sensor's wrong and the vaccines are safe. Can't you? I'm locked out. System admin revoked my vault access 2 hours ago. Some security audit bullshit. You're the only coordinator with active level 4 clearance who's available tonight. What about Nathan? Chicago. Conference. He'll be back tomorrow, but by then the damage could be done. If those vaccines are actually exposed to -70, they're ruined. $12 million. Possibly more in trial delays. He paused. Please, Zoila. I know it's late. I know you're tired. But you're the only one who can do this. 20 minutes. Just verify the temp. Count the racks. Confirm everything's stable. Then you can come home. I hesitated. Something felt wrong. But Vault C3 emergencies had happened before. Sensor malfunctions weren't uncommon. And 12 million in vaccines was real. Okay, 20 minutes. Thank you. I knew I could count on you. The way he said it. Warm. Loving. That's what made me ignore my instincts. I got dressed, drove to BioShield, arrived 22:39. The parking lot was almost empty. Ethan's car near the entrance. And one black SUV, tinted windows, parked far from the lights, engine cold. It didn't belong to anyone I knew, but I was tired, pregnant, focused on getting this done and getting home. I walked inside. That was my second mistake. 22:47. Ethan met me in the lobby, smiled, hugged me. Thank you for coming. I know this is a pain. It's fine, let's just get it done. He led me through the facility, swiped his keycard at the restricted zone door. EC_admin, 224803. I noticed but didn't think much of it. He said his vault access was revoked, not his floor access. We took the elevator to the basement, walked down the corridor to the cold storage wing. Vault C3 at the end. Heavy steel door. Digital display showing temperature. Display read -50 degrees Celsius, not -70 like Ethan said. Huh, Ethan said. Must have corrected itself, but we should verify. Make sure it's not fluctuating. He swiped his keycard. Door unlocked. Hydraulic release hissed. He pulled the door open. Cold air rolled out. Just do a quick count. Make sure nothing shifted during the temperature swing. I stepped inside. 4 meters by 6. Low ceiling, metal racks filled with frost-covered vaccine boxes, rows of vials in insulated cases. Temperature inside, -50 Celsius. Normal for this vault. I turned to check the internal temperature gauge on the left wall. Behind me, hydraulic hiss. Different sound, closing sound. I spun around. The vault door was swinging shut. Ethan stood outside, hand still on the control panel, face expressionless. Ethan? Our eyes met. For 1 second, 1 heartbeat, I saw something in his face I'd never seen before. Not anger, not hatred. Calculation. Cold calculation. The door sealed with a final pneumatic thud, maglocks engaged. I ran to it, pushed, pulled, nothing. Intercom crackled. I'm sorry, Zoila. His voice, calm, almost gentle. You gave me no choice. You were always too principled, too honest, too goddamn righteous. Pause. You're a good person. That's why I loved you. But good people are dangerous to people like me. Static. They'll find you tomorrow morning. Tragic accident. Pregnant woman, confused, wandered into the wrong vault during a late-night emergency. Probably trying to help. Hypothermia is peaceful. No pain, no marks. Just sleep. Longer pause. And our son, if he survives premature birth from the stress on your body, he'll grow up believing his mother made a terrible mistake, that she was careless. His voice hardened. I'll make sure he never knows what you tried to do to me, to my family, to my company. I pounded on the door, screamed. He'll grow up calling my next wife Mom, Ethan continued, and you'll just be the cautionary tale I tell him about being careful, following protocol, not working when you're tired and pregnant. Static, then silence. The temperature display on the internal wall blinked. -50 degrees Celsius. In the upper corner, a small black hemisphere. Security camera. Red LED light blinking. He was watching. I pressed both hands to my belly. My son kicked, hard, like he knew. The camera's red light kept blinking. Watching us die. 22:52 p.m. door sealed. November 19th, 2025. I tried the intercom, pushed the button. Dead. He'd disabled it from outside. Emergency release lever on the interior wall. Pulled it. Once, twice, 6 times. Didn't budge. Sabotaged. Phone. Pulled it from my pocket. No signal. 0 bars. The vault walls were 30 centimeters of insulated steel embedded in concrete. Faraday cage. No signal penetration. My breath came out white. Visible puffs. They hung in the air for 3 seconds before freezing into tiny ice crystals that fell like snow. Already so cold. I pulled off my coat. Heavy winter coat. I'd worn it because November in Minneapolis is freezing. Now it was the only thing between my baby and death. Wrapped it around my belly. Around him. The shivering started almost immediately. Violent. Uncontrollable. I knew the physiology. I'd studied hypothermia in my clinical training. Core body temperature. Normally, 98.6 Fahrenheit. Mild hypothermia, 95 to 90 degrees. Symptoms: shivering, confusion, loss of coordination. Moderate hypothermia, 90 to 85 degrees. Shivering stops, paradoxical undressing, confusion worsens. Severe hypothermia, below 85. Cardiac arrhythmias, loss of consciousness, death. For a 32-week fetus, the math was different. Worse. Maternal core temp below 95 for more than an hour. Fetal distress begins. Below 92. Significant risk of fetal death. I had maybe 2 hours, maybe 3, maybe less. I forced myself to breathe slowly, deliberately, 12 breaths per minute instead of my panicked 16. Reduce oxygen consumption. Reduce heat loss through respiration. I pressed both hands to my belly. Could feel the heartbeat through the abdominal wall. Thump, 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 thump. Fast. Strong. About 140 beats per minute. Normal for him. Stay with Mama, Luca, I whispered. We're getting out, I promise. My voice already sounded strange. Slurred. The cold affecting speech. I looked around. Metal racks. Vaccine boxes. Nothing flammable. Nothing I could use to signal. Nothing to generate heat. Just cold. And time. And the camera watching. 18 minutes in. My hands were going numb. Feet too. Peripheral vasoconstriction. My body shutting down blood flow to extremities. Protecting the core. Protecting vital organs. Protecting the baby. My body was choosing to sacrifice my fingers and toes to keep him alive a little longer. I could feel it happening. The tingling. The numbness. The way my fingers wouldn't quite obey when I tried to flex them. 33 minutes. Core temp, I could estimate based on symptoms, had dropped to maybe 96 degrees. Still mild hypothermia. Still okay. But dropping? The shivering was exhausting. My muscles burned. Using energy. Using oxygen, using reserves I couldn't afford to lose. 41 minutes. I started counting backward from 100. Cognitive check. If I couldn't count, I was too far gone. 100, 99, 98, 97. Made it to 73 before I lost focus. Started again. 100, 99. Made it to 68. Again. 55. My mind was slowing. I bit my hand. Hard. Pain shot up my arm. Stay awake. Stay alert. I looked at the camera again. Ethan was watching this. Watching me slow down. Watching me die. Did he feel anything? Guilt? Regret? Or just calculation? Waiting to make sure I was dead before he called security in the morning to discover me? 59 minutes. I felt drowsy. Warning sign, dangerous sign. Hypothermia makes you want to sleep. The body tries to conserve energy by shutting down. If I slept, I'd die. I started pacing. 3 steps to the left, turn. 3 steps to the right, turn. Keep moving, generate heat. But I was so tired. And the baby was so heavy. And moving made me colder because it exposed more surface area to the freezing air. 1 hour, 14 minutes. 0006, November 20th now. I stopped pacing, couldn't anymore. Sat down on the floor, back against the wall. Coat still wrapped around my belly. Core temp, maybe 94 degrees. Stage 2, hypothermia. I wasn't shivering anymore. That's how I knew I was dying. When hypothermia gets bad enough, the shivering stops. The body gives up trying to generate heat. I pressed my hands, numb, useless hands, to my belly. Whispered, "I'm sorry, baby. Mama tried." His kick was weaker than before. He was dying too. And then I felt it. A warm trickle between my legs. 1 hour, 43 minutes in the vault. 0035 a.m. The pain started low in my back. Deep. Radiating. Contraction. No, 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 no. 32 weeks. Too early, too early. Another wave hit, stronger. I gasped. My water had broken. I could feel the wetness. On the freezing floor, it was already turning to slush. Labor, active labor. My body, stressed, hypothermic, oxygen deprived, was trying to deliver the baby. Maybe it thought it was saving him, expelling him before we both died. Maybe it was just giving up. Contractions 5 minutes apart, then 4, then 3. I tried to breathe through them. Tried to remember the breathing techniques from the prenatal class Ethan and I had taken together. Ethan, who was watching me give birth alone on a freezing floor. 2 hours, 18 minutes, 0110. Contractions 90 seconds apart. I squatted, gripped a metal shelf, tried to find a position that helped. There wasn't one. This was happening, here, now, alone. Ring of fire and ice. I'd read about labor, heard women describe it. Ring of fire, they called it. The burning sensation as the baby crowns. But this was different. Fire and ice at once, burning cold. I could feel him moving down, could feel the pressure, the impossible pressure. No doctors, no nurses, no medical equipment, no warmth, no help. Just me and him and negative 50 degrees Celsius. 2 hours, 48 minutes, 0140. I couldn't feel my hands at all now, but I could feel inside, could feel him crowning. Not yet, I whispered. Not yet, baby. Hold on. But he wasn't holding on. He was coming. 3 hours, 11 minutes, 0203. Another contraction, stronger than all the others combined. My body bore down. I couldn't stop it. I reached down with hands I couldn't feel. And I felt his head. 3 hours, 29 minutes in the vault. 0321 a.m. November 20th, 2025. Final contraction, final push. I caught him with frozen hands I couldn't feel. 3 pounds, 9 ounces of baby. Blue, silent still. Luca. Umbilical cord still attached. Placenta still inside me. Didn't matter. I pulled him to my chest, rubbed his back with numb fingers. Nothing. Rubbed harder. Breathe. Breathe, baby. Please breathe. Cleared his airway with my thumb, swept his mouth, his nose. Still nothing. No cry, no movement. Blue. No, no, no. I rubbed his back harder. Rough. Desperate. Tiny gasp. Another. Weak, thin cry. The most beautiful sound I'd ever heard. I pulled him against my chest, skin to skin, wrapped my coat around both of us. Umbilical cord still pulsing. Placenta still inside. I'd read about lotus births, leaving the cord attached. The cord would keep giving him blood. Warmth. Something. My core temperature, 92.8 Fahrenheit. Stage 3, hypothermia. But he was against my skin. My heart still beating. my lungs still breathing. I'd read about kangaroo care, skin-to-skin contact, how a mother's body regulates a premature baby's temperature. Please, please let it work. His cry got stronger. Not strong, but stronger. I started singing, voice slurred, words barely forming. Hush, little baby, don't say a word. Mama's gonna buy you a mockingbird. Couldn't remember the rest. Started over. Hush, little baby. My lips were numb, tongue thick, jaw barely moving. But I kept singing, over and over, the same line. Because if I stopped singing, I'd fall asleep. And if I fell asleep, we'd both die. 3 hours, 43 minutes. I held Luca against my chest, felt his small body trembling. Or maybe I was trembling. Couldn't tell anymore. Kept singing, hush, little baby. Voice getting quieter, words slurring together. Started counting, 1, 2, 3. Lost track at 30-something. Started again. My mind was fragmenting. Thoughts coming slow, disconnected. Thought about the 12 patients, Rebecca Kowalski, cardiac arrest, day 14. Did she have children? Did Michael Torres? Sarah Jensen? 12 people Ethan erased because they were inconvenient. Now he was erasing me. Erasing us. No. I bit my arm. Hard, tasted blood. Pain. Stay awake. Luca made a small sound. Not a cry. A whimper. I looked down. His lips were pale. His chest rising and falling. Fast. Too fast. Stay with Mama, I whispered. We're getting out. But I didn't believe it anymore. 4 hours, 12 minutes. I thought about Nathan. He'd find us tomorrow. He'd know what Ethan did. Would it matter? Would anyone believe I'd been locked in here? Or would they think I'd wandered in by accident while confused and pregnant? Ethan's story would be perfect, tragic, sympathetic. Young VP whose pregnant wife died in a terrible accident, who lost his son, who soldiered on running his late father's company. No one would suspect. 4 hours, 29 minutes. Luca's movements getting weaker. I rubbed his back with hands that felt like blocks of wood. No, stay awake, stay with Mama. But he was so small, so cold. His breathing slowed. No, no, please. I breathed on his face. Warm air. What little warmth I had left. Tiny sound, not a cry. A sigh. Still alive. Both still alive. 4 hours, 47 minutes. 03:39. The camera's red light still blinking. Watching us die. I looked at it. Directly at it. Ethan was watching. I mouthed words. Couldn't speak anymore. But I mouthed them. You failed. We're still alive. The light kept blinking. And then, beep. 4 hours, 51 minutes in the vault. 03:43 a.m. Beep. Keycard reader. Outside. Different sound. Different rhythm from Ethan's swipe. Fast. Urgent. Multiple beeps like someone trying different cards. Hydraulic hiss. The door cracked open. Light flooded in. Blinding after hours of dim vault lighting. Silhouette in the doorway. Tall. Lean. Not Ethan. Jesus Christ, Zoila? Dr. Nathan Ellsworth. I tried to speak. Jaw frozen. He ran in. Dropped to his knees beside me. Saw the baby. Oh my God. Ripped off his coat. Wrapped it around both of us. Over my coat. Double layer. 911. Now. Speaking into his phone. Hennepin County Medical Center. Vault C3. BioShield Therapeutics. Basement level. Female. 34 years old. 32 weeks pregnant. Severe hypothermia. She gave birth. Baby's alive. Both alive. I need 2 ambulances. Now. He scooped us up, both of us together, ran. I tried to speak. Couldn't. He ran through corridors. To the elevator. Up. Stay with me, Zoila. Both of you stay with me. You're going to be okay. You're both going to be okay. I wanted to believe him. Luca made a small sound against my chest. Still alive. We made it to the lobby. Emergency lights flashing outside. Ambulance pulling up. Paramedics rushed in with stretchers. Warm blankets. Equipment. Core temp, one asked. Nathan. Estimated 92 degrees. 4 hours, 51 minutes in -50 Celsius. She gave birth in the vault. Baby approximately 3 hours old. Paramedic. Jesus. They wrapped heated blankets around me, around Luca. Checked his vitals. Heart rate 120, respiratory rate 52, temp 94.3. He's hypothermic but alive. They cut the umbilical cord, took him. An ICU team. Incubator. I tried to reach for him. He needs help, the paramedic said gently. We'll take care of him. You need help too. I wanted to argue, couldn't. Everything went fuzzy, Nathan's face above mine. I have the evidence, Zoila. The USB. Everything. We've got him. Darkness. 0:37 a.m., November 20th, 2025. I woke in the ER, bright lights, beeping monitors, heated blankets piled on top of me. Core temperature 94.6 Fahrenheit, rising. Blood pressure 108/72. Heart rate 96, elevated but stable. Doctor. Ms. Brennan, you're at Hennepin County Medical Center. You're going to be okay. Can you tell me what happened? I tried to speak. Words came slow, thick. Husband. Locked me. Vault. Your husband? Ethan. Caldwell. VP. BioShield. The doctor's eyes widened. The man who called 911 said he found you locked in a pharmaceutical vault. You were in there almost 5 hours? 4:51 minutes. And you gave birth in there? I nodded. Where's Luca? Your baby is in NICU, level 2. He's stable, 3 pounds 9 ounces, breathing on his own. That's remarkable for 32 weeks, especially given the circumstances. Relief flooded through me. Need to see him. Soon. We need to stabilize you first. You have severe frostbite on your fingers and toes, moderate hypothermia, possible organ damage from prolonged cold exposure. We're warming you slowly. Too fast could cause cardiac arrest. A nurse entered. Doctor, police are here, and someone from the FBI. The doctor nodded. Give us 5 minutes. 04:21 a.m. Detective Sarah Ortiz entered. Badge 5183, Hennepin County Sheriff, Violent Crimes Division. Behind her, a woman in a dark suit. FBI credentials visible on her belt. Special Agent Monica Reeves, FBI Minneapolis Field Office. Ortiz pulled up a chair. Ms. Brennan, I know you've been through hell, but we need to hear what happened. Can you tell us? I took a breath. Words coming easier now as my body warmed. My husband Ethan Caldwell locked me in Vault C3 at BioShield Therapeutics, 22:52 last night. I gave birth in there at 03:21 this morning. He watched on camera. Ortiz wrote quickly. He watched on camera? Security camera, in the vault. Red light. He was watching us die. Agent Reeves leaned forward. Ms. Brennan, why would your husband do this? Because I reported him to the FDA November 16th. Whistleblower complaint. Case FDA-WB-112584. He deleted 12 patients from the VaxShield 9 trial. Severe adverse events. Federal fraud. Reeves and Ortiz exchanged glances. Reeves, you filed an FDA whistleblower complaint against your husband? Against BioShield, against him. Against his mother Victoria. They planned it. I have evidence. What evidence? USB drive, in my hospital bag. Dr. Nathan Ellsworth has it. Or I hid another copy in my car, under the driver's seat, taped to the frame. Ortiz, what's on this drive? Patient files. 12 patients with severe adverse events that were deleted from FDA submission. Audio recording of executive meeting October 30th. Ethan, Victoria, and CFO Gerald Finch planning the fraud. Deletion logs showing Ethan purged the records November 2nd. Emails between Ethan and Victoria about handling the Zoila problem. Reeves pulled out her phone, made a call. This is Special Agent Reeves. I need an evidence team at Hennepin County Medical Center, ASAP, and I need a search warrant for BioShield Therapeutics. All electronic records, security footage, vault access logs. Yes, now. She hung up, looked at me. Ms. Brennan, Dr. Ellsworth is in the waiting room. He says he has a USB drive with evidence. He also says he has additional files he copied independently. Is that correct? Yes. Nathan suspected Ethan was hiding something. When he saw my backup server activity October 28th, he mirrored everything I accessed. Plus, he found emails I didn't have access to. Ortiz, where is your husband now? I don't know. Home? Office? Watching to see if we died? Reeves stood. We're bringing him in, now. 04:45 a.m. Nathan entered, sat beside my bed, held up a USB drive. I have everything, he said quietly. Your files. My files. Combined. Agent Reeves took it. Walk me through this, from the beginning. Nathan. I'm medical monitor for the VaxShield 9 trial. My job is independent oversight of safety data. 6 months ago, I noticed discrepancies, adverse event reports that appeared in preliminary safety summaries, but disappeared from final FDA submissions. Small things at first. A rash here, headache there, then bigger things. A hospitalization that vanished from records. I started keeping my own parallel database, copying every safety report before it went to the official file, just in case. October 28th. I got an automated alert. Someone accessed the backup server. Unusual time, after hours. Unusual files. Archived patient records from closed-out participants. I checked the logs. Zoila's user, ID. I watched her access pattern. She was comparing official submission files to backup archives. Same thing I'd been doing. She found the 12 deleted patients. I knew if she found it, Ethan would know eventually, so I copied everything she accessed plus everything I had. Insurance. He pulled out a second USB drive. 2 copies. This one has patient files, deletion logs, the October 30th audio recording, email chains between Ethan and Victoria. Plus vault access logs showing Ethan and Victoria's keycard activity November 19th. Reeves. Victoria's keycard? Victoria's executive keycard VC-0038 accessed Vault C3 at 22:41 November 19th. 11 minutes before Ethan locked Zoila in. Victoria gave Ethan her keycard so he'd have backup access. Ortiz. So Victoria knew. Victoria orchestrated it. Check the emails. November 18th. Victoria to Ethan. Handle the Zoila problem. Do what you need to do. This is your legacy. I'll manage the board. We protect family. Reeves took the second drive. How did you find Ms. Brennan tonight? Automated building security alert. 11:43 p.m. email to all department heads. Zoila's keycard accessed Vault C3 at 22:52. She's on maternity leave. Shouldn't be in the building at all, let alone accessing a restricted vault at 11 p.m. I called her phone. Voicemail. Called Ethan. He said she'd gone home. System glitch. That's when I knew. I checked the security cameras remotely. Saw Ethan walk Zoila into the vault. Saw him leave alone 46 seconds later. I drove from my apartment. Got there 03:39. Tried my master keycard. Didn't work. Tried emergency override codes. Finally got the door open 03:43. He paused, voice shaking. She was holding the baby. Both of them blue. I thought they were dead. Then the baby cried. Silence. Reeves. You saved their lives. Nathan. She saved their lives. She kept them both alive for 4 hours 51 minutes at -50 Celsius. I just opened a door. 08:15 a.m., November 20th. 6 hours after I was locked in the vault. 4.5 hours after rescue. Minneapolis police and FBI arrested Ethan at our home. Joint operation. State and federal charges. Detective Ortiz read him his rights. Ethan Caldwell, you are under arrest for attempted murder in the first degree, kidnapping, unlawful confinement, and conspiracy to commit murder. Federal charges read by Agent Reeves. Additionally, federal charges: attempted murder of a federal witness, obstruction of a federal investigation, wire fraud, making false statements to a federal agency. Ethan said nothing, stared straight ahead. They cuffed him, led him to the car. Bail hearing 11:30 a.m. Prosecutor argued for remand without bail. Extreme danger to victim. Premeditated attempted murder of pregnant wife and unborn child. Defendant has resources to flee. Mother is wealthy with international connections. Defense attorney Hugh Maddox, $850 per hour, retained within 90 minutes of arrest, argued Ethan was not a flight risk. Respected executive, deep community ties, no prior criminal record. These allegations are based on the uncorroborated claims of a woman who was found disoriented and hypothermic after wandering into a restricted area against protocol. Judge set bail, $2 million. Reasoning. The physical evidence, vault access logs, security footage, the victim's injuries, supports the charges. However, defendant does have community ties. Bail is set at $2 million cash. GPS monitoring, surrender of passport, no contact with victim or child, 500-foot exclusion zone from victim, child, and hospital. 12:03 p.m. Victoria Caldwell posted bail. Wire transfer, $2 million from her personal account at Wells Fargo Private Bank. Statement released through her attorney. My son is innocent. This is a tragic misunderstanding. Zoila is a brilliant woman, but her pregnancy has brought psychological challenges. We will prove Ethan was trying to help during a facility emergency. Our prayers are with Zoila and the baby. Ethan was released 12:45 p.m. GPS ankle monitor. Drove away in Victoria's car. 3 p.m. Detective Ortiz came to my hospital room. He posted bail in under 4 hours. His mother wired $2 million like it was nothing. She sat down. Ms. Brennan, we're building the strongest case possible, but I need you to know, Victoria Caldwell is involved. She knew. She helped. And we're going after her too. I nodded. How much can you prove? Everything. The USB drives Nathan provided have email chains between Victoria and Ethan discussing the Zoila problem. Victoria's keycard accessed the vault 11 minutes before Ethan locked you in. Victoria funded the PR firm that's already spinning this as your mental breakdown. Her bank records show a $45,000 wire to Callaway and Associates. Crisis management on November 20th at 9 a.m., hours after your rescue, before any public information was released. Pause. She knew you'd survived, and she immediately hired a PR firm to destroy your credibility. Can you arrest her? We're building the case. Conspiracy. Accessory before and after the fact. Obstruction of justice. It takes time, but we'll get her. I looked out the window. I want to see my son. 1500 hours. 3 p.m. November 20th. 14 hours after I was locked in the vault. 12 hours after Luca was born. They wheeled me to the NICU in a wheelchair. I was still too weak to walk. Level 2 NICU, Incubator 7. Luca. 4 pounds 1 ounce after warming and initial feeding. Born 3 pounds 9 ounces. Gained weight on IV fluids and donor breast milk. Heart rate 142. Oxygen saturation 96%. Temperature 98.1 Fahrenheit. Respirations 52 per minute. Fast but normal for a preemie. The nurse showed me how to reach through the incubator portholes. I slipped my bandaged hands inside, fingers wrapped in gauze from frostbite. Touched his tiny hand. His fingers, so small, so perfect, wrapped around my pinky. He's a fighter, the nurse said. Lungs are developing well. No signs of brain damage from the hypothermia. No organ damage. He's remarkable. I looked at him through the plastic. Dark hair, Ethan's nose, my eyes. You survived the coldest night, Luca, I whispered. You're stronger than all of them. He made a small sound. Not quite a cry. A squeak. The nurse smiled. He knows your voice. Babies always know their mothers. I stayed there for an hour, just watching him breathe. Watching his tiny chest rise and fall. Through the NICU window, I saw movement in the hallway. Ethan! Standing between 2 police officers, hands cuffed behind his back. He must have violated the exclusion order. Came to the hospital. He looked at me through the glass. I stared back. Didn't blink. Didn't look away. Didn't cry. One officer said something to him, turned him around, led him away. I looked back at Luca. Your father tried to kill us, baby. But we're still here. And we're going to make sure everyone knows what he did. November 22nd, 2 days after rescue. Special Agent Monica Reeves came to my hospital room. Ms. Brennan, the FBI is formally opening a federal investigation into BioShield Therapeutics. Case number FBI-MN-2025-8821. I'm the lead investigator. She sat down. Your case has multiple federal violations: wire fraud, electronic submission of false data to FDA, making false statements to a federal agency, the vaccine safety reports, obstruction of a federal investigation, deleting records after you filed your whistleblower complaint, and attempted murder of a federal witness, you. What happens now? We execute search warrants, seize all BioShield electronic records, paper files, and security footage, interview employees, build the case against Ethan, Victoria, and anyone else involved. How long? Federal cases take time, but we move fast on witness protection. You're a federal whistleblower who was nearly killed. You and your son are under FBI protection effective immediately. She handed me a card. My direct line, 24/7. Anything suspicious, anyone approaches you, anyone threatens you, anything, you call me. What about Victoria? We're investigating her separately. Conspiracy to commit attempted murder, accessory before the fact, obstruction of justice, her keycard access, her emails to Ethan, her immediate hiring of a PR firm, all evidence of knowledge and participation. When will you arrest her? When we have an airtight case. Victoria has resources, expensive lawyers, political connections. We get one shot. We make it count. December 1st, 6:18 a.m. FBI executed a federal search warrant at BioShield Therapeutics headquarters. 16 special agents, 4 forensic accountants, 2 computer forensic specialists. Employees arriving for the 7 a.m. shift were turned away. Building sealed for 48 hours. Items seized. All servers, main database, backup database, email servers, cloud storage. 51 hard drives from executive offices, Ethan's, Victoria's, Gerald's, and 8 other senior staff. 8,000 paper documents. Clinical trial records, FDA submissions, board meeting minutes, financial records. Vault C3 complete access logs, physical printout and digital files dating back 2 years. CCTV footage archives, complete November 19th coverage, all angles, all timestamps. Security keycard access logs for entire facility. Every swipe, every door, every timestamp for the past year. Financial records, wire transfers, payments to PR firms, personal banking records under subpoena. Agent Reeves called me from the scene. We've got everything. Ethan's computer, not wiped. Victoria's office, emails dating back 3 years. The vault camera footage, automatically backed up to cloud storage. Ethan didn't know. What's on the footage? You don't want to know. Tell me. Long pause. 4 hours, 51 minutes. You giving birth? You trying to keep the baby warm? You singing? You biting your own arm to stay awake? All of it. And Ethan? Oh, access logs show he stayed in his office the entire time. Camera footage from his office shows him at his desk, watching his computer screen. We pulled his browser history. He was logged into the vault security camera feed. He watched. The whole time. I closed my eyes. How long until trial? Months. But we have him. We have everything. December 2nd. FBI forensic team completed analysis of Vault C3. Temperature logs. Confirmed continuous -50 Celsius, plus or minus 2 degrees, from 22:52 November 19th to 03:43 November 20th. Duration, 4 hours, 51 minutes, 24 seconds. Keycard access records. E. Caldwell, EC_admin, 225218. Entry with Z. Brennan. E. Caldwell. EC_admin. 225304. Exit alone. 46 seconds inside vault. V. Caldwell. VC-0038. 224109. Entry. Exit 224217. 1 minute 8 seconds inside. Purpose. Unknown. N. Ellsworth. NE_monitor. 033908. Initial entry attempt. 034314. Successful entry. Rescue. Agent Reeves called. Victoria was in the vault 22 minutes before Ethan locked you in. We have her on camera. She did something to the emergency release mechanism. Forensics confirmed. Release lever was mechanically disabled. Required tools. Knowledge of the system. Victoria's an engineer. She built that vault system with her husband. She sabotaged it so I couldn't escape. Yes. And there was one more discovery. The vault had a safety feature most people didn't know about. Automatic audio recording when the door sealed. Industrial safety regulation. In case someone got trapped, investigators could review what happened. File recovered from cloud backup. Vault_C3_November 19_2341.wavy. Duration 3 minutes 12 seconds. Timestamp 2341 to 2344. November 19th, 2025. 49 minutes after I was sealed inside. Voice analysis 99.8% match. Ethan Caldwell. Agent Reeves played it for me over the phone. Static. Then Ethan's voice. Clear. Calm. Zoila, this isn't personal. It's triage. 12 patients versus thousands who'll benefit from this vaccine. You would have destroyed everything. My career, my mother's legacy, my father's company. Pause. They'll find you tomorrow morning. Tragic accident. Pregnant woman, confused, wandered into the wrong area during a late-night emergency, probably trying to help. The hypothermia will look natural, peaceful, no pain, no marks, just an unfortunate mistake. Longer pause. And our son, if he survives premature birth from the stress on your body, he'll grow up believing his mother was careless, that she didn't follow protocol, that she worked too hard while pregnant and made a terrible mistake. His voice hardened. I'll make sure he never knows what you tried to do, never knows you tried to destroy me, destroy my family. He'll grow up calling my next wife Mom. You'll just be the cautionary tale I tell him about being careful, following rules. Another pause. I loved you, Zoila, I really did, but you left me no choice. Principled people are dangerous. You would have taken everything. Better this way. Quick, clean, deniable. Goodbye. The recording ended. I sat in silence. Agent Reeves. We have him. Voice match 99.8%. Premeditation, intent, motive, all on record. He's done. December 5th. Gerald Finch, CFO of BioShield, third voice on the October 30th recording, was brought in for questioning. His attorney. My client is willing to cooperate fully in exchange for consideration. Meaning, he wanted a deal. FBI and U.S. Attorney's Office offered. Original charges, 3 counts. Conspiracy to commit wire fraud. Making false statements to FDA. Obstruction of justice. Maximum 25 years federal prison. Plea deal. Guilty to 1 count obstruction of justice. Recommended sentence. 18 months. Possibility of probation if cooperation is substantial. Gerald took it. Debriefing lasted 12 hours over 3 days, December 5th through 7th. What Gerald revealed. Victoria knew about the 12 patient deletions before they happened. Email October 29th, 2025. Ethan, do what you need to do. This is your legacy. Your father built this company. Don't let 12 people destroy it. I'll handle the board. We protect family. Victoria provided Ethan with her executive key card VC-0038 on the evening of November 19th. Gerald witnessed the handoff in Victoria's office. Victoria said, "You might need backup access, just in case." Victoria directed the PR response, hired Callaway and Associates, crisis PR firm, on November 20th at 9 a.m., paid $45,000 retainer from her personal account. First talking point drafted, Zoila Brennan suffering from pregnancy-related psychological crisis, Ethan trying to help during facility emergency. Victoria instructed Gerald to prepare financial documents showing BioShield's projected market value with FDA approval versus without. Purpose: justify the fraud as protecting shareholder value and future patients. Victoria told Gerald on November 21st, "Zoila won't testify. She'll be too traumatized, too focused on the baby. By the time she's ready to talk, we'll have discredited her completely. Pregnancy psychosis, postpartum depression, poor judgment. Jury will never believe her over Ethan." December 6th. FBI leaked one email to media from Victoria Caldwell, vcaldwell@bioshieldthera.com, to Ethan Caldwell, ecaldwell@bioshieldthera.com. Date: October 29th, 2025, 20:14. Subject: Data concerns. Ethan, do what you need to do. This company is your legacy. Your father built it from nothing. I will not watch 12 people destroy everything he worked for. Everything we built. Handle the data. I'll handle the board. I'll handle any questions. We protect this family. We protect this company. Do what you need to do. 3 weeks before the vault. Victoria knew. Victoria approved. Victoria helped. December 7th. FBI Victim Assistance Unit contacted the 12 patient families whose adverse events were deleted, using medical records from the USB drives and BioShield seized files, addresses, phone numbers, medical records. 9 out of 12 families located. 3 had moved out of state, addresses unknown. 7 families agreed to cooperate as federal witnesses. Patient 0284, Rebecca Kowalski, age 31, cardiac arrest survivor, day 14 post-vaccination, full recovery after 6 days ICU. Husband, James Kowalski, attorney, personal injury and medical malpractice law. December 9th, James filed a civil lawsuit. Kowalski versus BioShield Therapeutics, Ethan Caldwell, Victoria Caldwell. Charges: negligence, fraud, intentional infliction of emotional distress, reckless endangerment. Damages sought: $150 million. James released a public statement December 7th, posted on his law firm's website, picked up by Minneapolis Star-Tribune, then National News. "My name is James Kowalski. My wife Rebecca is patient 0284 in BioShield Therapeutics VacShield 9 clinical trial. 14 days after receiving the vaccine, my wife suffered ventricular fibrillation. Her heart stopped. I performed CPR. I called 911. She spent 6 days in intensive care at Hennepin County Medical Center. She had no pre-existing heart conditions, no family history of cardiac disease. She was a marathon runner, healthy. And BioShield erased her from their trial like she never existed. They deleted her adverse event report from their FDA submission. Deleted 12 patients, 12 severe adverse events, because reporting the truth would hurt their profits. Then, when clinical coordinator Zoila Brennan discovered the fraud and reported it to the FDA, BioShield's VP, Ethan Caldwell, locked her in a freezer while she was 32 weeks pregnant. He watched on camera as she gave birth alone, as she and her baby nearly died. I'm filing a lawsuit against BioShield, Ethan Caldwell, and Victoria Caldwell for fraud, negligence, and deliberate endangerment of trial participants and whistleblowers. I'm seeking $150 million in damages. But more than that, I want justice. I want every patient they tried to erase to have their voice back. Zoila Brennan gave my wife her voice back. She risked everything, her career, her safety, her son, to expose what they did. Now it's time the world knows. All 12 of us. We're not invisible anymore. The story exploded. CNN, MSNBC, Fox. National coverage. Hashtag Justice for Zoila trending on Twitter. Hashtag Cold Truth launched by advocates. 6 other patient families released statements joining the lawsuit. BioShield's stock began to collapse. December 10, 2025. Market open. 9:30 a.m. Eastern. BioShield Therapeutics. Ticker. BSHD. NASDAQ listed. Opening price. $24.50 per share. By 11 a.m., trading halted. Circuit breaker. Down 38% in 90 minutes. News had broken overnight. Wall Street Journal. Front page. BioShield executive accused of locking pregnant wife in freezer after she reported vaccine trial fraud to FDA. Subheading: 12 patients allegedly deleted from safety reports. Federal investigation underway. 7 families file lawsuit. Market resumed trading 11:30. Continued collapse. Close of trading December 10th. $15.18. Down 38% in one day. December 11th. Further collapse. Close. $8.92. December 12th. SEC issued trading halt pending investigation. Statement at 14:17. The Securities and Exchange Commission has halted trading of BioShield Therapeutics, BSHD, pending investigation into possible securities fraud, false statements to investors, and failure to disclose material adverse events in clinical trial data. FDA released statement same day. 16:05. FDA is conducting a comprehensive investigation into data integrity concerns related to BioShield Therapeutics' VacShield 9 Phase 3 clinical trial. Trial enrollment has been suspended effective immediately pending resolution of safety concerns. BioShield is prohibited from submitting new drug applications until further notice. December 15th. BioShield stock resumed trading. Opening $4.12. Close $1.96. Down 92% from November 18th peak of $24.50. Market capitalization loss. Approximately $1.4 billion. In 3 weeks. Board of Directors held emergency meeting December 15th. Demanded Victoria Caldwell resign from advisory position. She refused. Released statement through attorney. I will not abandon my late husband's company during a crisis manufactured by false allegations and media hysteria. December 23, 2025. BioShield Therapeutics filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy. U.S. Bankruptcy Court. District of Minnesota. Assets: approximately $38 million. Facilities, equipment, remaining intellectual property. Liabilities: over $500 million. Patient lawsuits, vendor debts, employee severance, legal fees. VacShield 9 trial data worthless. FDA approval permanently revoked. Liquidation plan filed. All assets to be sold. Proceeds distributed to creditors. Priority: patient compensation fund for the 12 deleted patients and their families. Then, employee severance. Then, vendors and contractors. Shareholders wiped out. 315 employees laid off. Effective December 31st, 2025. News coverage. December 23rd, 1800 hours. WCCO-TV. BioShield Therapeutics filed for bankruptcy this morning, marking the final collapse of what was once a billion-dollar pharmaceutical company valued at over $1.6 billion at its peak. The FDA has permanently revoked the company's vaccine trial approval, citing systematic fraud and data fabrication. The stock has been delisted from NASDAQ. 315 employees will lose their jobs by year's end. The company's assets, approximately $38 million, will be liquidated, with priority given to a victim compensation fund for the 12 patients whose adverse events were concealed, and for whistleblower Zoila Brennan, who nearly died exposing the fraud. 22 years for Ethan. 15 years for Victoria. BioShield, bankrupt, delisted, Gone. 315 families without jobs before Christmas. All because 12 people were inconvenient. And one woman refused to stay silent. December 12th, 9 a.m. Hennepin County Family Court. Judge Helena Frost presiding. Case 27-FA-CV-2 5-9382. Emergency petition for temporary custody of minor child, Luca Caldwell. Petitioners, Ethan Caldwell, Victoria Caldwell. Respondent, Zoila Brennan. Ground stated in petition. Mother mentally unfit due to prenatal psychosis and postpartum psychological breakdown. Mother's reckless and unfounded accusations against father caused family crisis and endangered child. Child currently recovering from premature birth caused by mother's unstable behavior during pregnancy. Father and paternal grandmother can provide stable, loving home pending mother's psychiatric evaluation and treatment. My attorney, Janet Ruiz, court-appointed, overworked, but fierce, stood. Your Honor, before we proceed, I'd like to present evidence. Judge Frost nodded. Proceed. Janet held up a small Bluetooth speaker. This is a 47-second excerpt of audio recovered by the FBI from Vault C3 at BioShield Therapeutics. The vault where Ms. Brennan was imprisoned by her husband on November 19, 2025. Hugh Maddox, Ethan's attorney, stood. Objection. This audio is evidence in a pending criminal case, improper to introduce in family court. Judge Frost. Overruled. This is an emergency custody hearing. The child's safety is paramount. I'll allow it. Janet pressed play. Static. Then Ethan's voice. Crystal clear. Zoila, this isn't personal. It's triage. 12 patients versus thousands who'll benefit from this vaccine. You would have destroyed everything. Audible gasp in the courtroom. They'll find you tomorrow. Tragic accident. Pregnant woman. Confused. Wandered into the wrong area. Murmurs. Judge gavelled for order. The hypothermia will look natural. No marks, no struggle. Just an unfortunate mistake. Longer pause in the recording. And our son, if he survives premature birth, will grow up believing his mother was careless. I'll make sure of that. The audio ended. Complete silence in the courtroom. Victoria, seated in the gallery behind Ethan, had gone pale. Janet spoke. Your Honor, this is the voice of Ethan Caldwell. Recorded automatically by the Vault safety system on November 19, 2025. Voice analysis confirms 99.8% match. This recording proves premeditated attempted murder of Ms. Brennan and her unborn child. She placed the speaker on the counsel table. I move to dismiss this custody petition as frivolous and malicious. Judge Frost looked at Hugh Maddox. Mr. Maddox, do you have a response to this recording? Hugh stood. Hesitated. Your Honor, the criminal case is ongoing. We cannot comment on evidence that... That's not an answer, Counselor. Judge turned to Victoria. Mrs. Victoria Caldwell approached the bench. Victoria stood, walked forward, face composed but hands trembling slightly. Judge Frost gestured to the witness stand. Please be seated. I have questions before I rule on this petition. Victoria sat. Janet Ruiz stood for cross-examination. Janet. Mrs. Caldwell, where were you on November 19, 2025, between 22:30 and midnight? Victoria. At home, in Edina. Janet. At home the entire time? Yes. Then how did your keycard, serial number VC-0038, registered to Victoria Caldwell, Executive Advisor, access Vault C3 at BioShield Therapeutics at 22:41 on November 19th? Pause. 11 minutes before your son's keycard sealed Ms. Brennan inside? Victoria blinked. I must have lost that card. Weeks ago. I don't carry it anymore. I'm retired from active management. Someone must have found it and... Janet. Lost it? Or gave it to your son so he could disable the emergency release mechanism before locking his pregnant wife in a freezer? Victoria. How dare you? Janet. Your Honor, I submit FBI evidence log item 47-B, keycard VC-0038, was found in Ethan Caldwell's jacket pocket during his arrest on November 20th at 08:15 a.m. She held up a document. It was in his possession, not lost, in his pocket. Victoria's face lost all color. Janet continued. FBI forensics confirmed that keycard VC-0038 accessed Vault C3 at 22:41:09 on November 19th. Someone with that card entered the vault for 1 minute and 8 seconds. Surveillance footage shows you, Mrs. Caldwell, entering and exiting the vault carrying a small tool bag. Forensic analysis of the vault's emergency release mechanism shows it was mechanically disabled using specialized tools, the type of tools an engineer would have, the type you would have, Mrs. Caldwell, given that you designed that vault system with your late husband. Pause. You sabotaged the emergency release so Ms. Brennan couldn't escape. Then you gave your son your keycard so he could seal her inside. Isn't that correct? Victoria. I don't have to answer. Judge Frost leaned forward. Actually, Mrs. Caldwell, you do. This is my courtroom. Answer the question. Long silence. Victoria. I want my attorney. Judge Frost. You have an attorney. Mr. Hastings is present. Do you wish to consult with him before answering? Bernard Hastings, Victoria's attorney, stood. Your Honor, I advise my client not to answer on Fifth Amendment grounds. Judge Frost. Noted. She looked at the courtroom. I'm denying this custody petition in its entirety. Full legal and physical custody remains with the mother, Zoila Brennan. Bang of gavel. Furthermore, Mrs. Caldwell, I'm informed by the U.S. Attorney's Office that there is an outstanding warrant for your arrest. Special Agent Monica Reeves stood from the back of the courtroom, walked forward with 2 FBI agents. Victoria Caldwell, I'm Special Agent Monica Reeves, FBI. You're under arrest for conspiracy to commit attempted murder, obstruction of a federal investigation, and accessory before the fact to attempted murder. She read Miranda rights. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. 2 agents handcuffed Victoria. In the courtroom. Cameras rolling. National news. Victoria looked across the room. At me. Sitting in the front row. Holding Luca. 3 weeks old now. 6 pounds 4 ounces. Discharged from NICU December 11th. I stared back. No words. No tears. Just eye contact. Victoria's mouth opened. Closed. The agents led her out. Judge Frost. This hearing is adjourned. Bang of gavel. Janet whispered to me. You just won full custody, and Victoria just got arrested for trying to kill you. I looked down at Luca, sleeping in my arms. I know, but this isn't over. Janet, what do you mean? The plea deals are coming. They'll want to avoid trial. We need to be ready. December 13th through 17th. Hugh Maddox and his team reviewed the FBI evidence package provided through Discovery. The vault audio recording. Ethan's voice, 99.8% match. Premeditated statements about tragic accident and making Luca believe his mother was careless. The security footage, 4 hours, 51 minutes. Me giving birth, trying to keep Luca warm, singing, biting my arm to stay awake. Ethan's computer logs showing he watched the vault camera feed the entire time. Keycard access logs. Victoria entering the vault 11 minutes before Ethan. Forensic proof of sabotaged emergency release. Gerald Finch's testimony. Victoria's emails. Do what you need to do. 12 patient files. Deletion logs. October 30th audio recording of the conspiracy. Hugh met with Ethan December 16th. Federal Detention Center. Ethan's bail had been revoked after Victoria's arrest. Ethan, I've reviewed everything. The vault recording alone guarantees conviction on all 6 counts. 85 years maximum. The jury will convict in under 2 hours. Pause. I can negotiate a plea. You'll still go to prison, but we might get it down to 2 counts. 20 to 25 years instead of life. The alternative is trial. With that recording, we lose. Badly. Ethan asked, What about my mother? Victoria's in worse trouble than you are. Gerald's testimony puts her keycard in your hand. Proves she knew. Proves she helped sabotage the vault. Pause. ICE, if you cooperate against her, prosecution might drop to 18 or 20 years. Ethan shook his head. I won't testify against my mother. Hugh sighed. Then we negotiate separately. Best deal for each of you. No cooperation against each other. December 18th, 2025, 9 a.m. U.S. District Court for the District of Minnesota. Judge Margaret O'Connor presiding. U.S. Attorney Lindsay Kavanaugh stood. Your Honor, the United States has reached a plea agreement with defendant Ethan Caldwell. She handed documents to the clerk. Mr. Caldwell agrees to plead guilty to 2 counts. Attempted murder of a federal witness under 18 U.S.C. 1512 and wire fraud under 18 U.S.C. 1343. The government agrees to dismiss 4 remaining counts. Sentencing recommendation: 22 years in federal prison, no possibility of parole. Judge O'Connor reviewed the documents. Mr. Caldwell, you understand that by pleading guilty, you are waiving your right to a trial by jury? Ethan stood, orange jumpsuit, in custody. Yes, Your Honor. And you understand you are pleading guilty to attempted murder and wire fraud? Yes. Mr. Caldwell, on November 19, 2025, you locked your wife, who was 32 weeks pregnant with your son, inside a pharmaceutical vault at negative 50 degrees Celsius for 4 hours and 51 minutes. Is that correct? 8-second pause. Yes, Your Honor. During that time, she gave birth alone. Is that correct? Yes. Judge O'Connor leaned forward. Why did you do this, Mr. Caldwell? Silence. Ethan looked across the courtroom, at me, sitting in the front row, holding Luca. 4 weeks old now, 6 pounds, 11 ounces. Nathan beside me, Janet on the other side. Our eyes met. Ethan spoke, voice low but clear, because she was going to destroy everything I built, the company, the trial, my father's legacy, my career, my future. Judge O'Connor, you mean everything you lied about, Mr. Caldwell? Everything you fabricated to defraud the FDA and endanger patients? Long pause. Ethan, yes. Sentencing will be December 20th at 10 a.m. Defendant is remanded to custody pending sentencing. U.S. Marshals approached. December 19th, 2025, 2 p.m. Victoria's attorney Bernard Hastings had negotiated a separate plea agreement. After reviewing Gerald Finch's testimony, the keycard evidence, the emails, Ethan's allocution mentioning his mother, Victoria pled guilty to 2 of 3 counts. Obstruction of justice under 18 U.S.C. 1505, providing her keycard to Ethan, sabotaging the emergency release, funding PR to discredit me, accessory after the fact under 18 U.S.C. 3, assisting Ethan post-crime with bail and PR campaign, dropped, conspiracy to commit attempted murder. Harder to prove Victoria knew Ethan's specific intent to kill me versus just handle the problem. Sentencing recommendation: 15 years federal prison, $20 million fine from personal assets, lifetime ban from pharmaceutical and biotechnology industries via FDA administrative order, forfeiture of 38% BioShield shares to Victim Compensation Fund. Bernard gave a statement in court. Your Honor, Mrs. Caldwell accepts responsibility for obstructing the federal investigation and providing material assistance to her son after the events of November 19th. Pause. She maintains she did not know her son intended to kill Ms. Brennan, but she acknowledges her actions, providing her access keycard, sabotaging the vault's safety mechanism, and funding a public relations campaign to discredit the victim, enabled her son's crime and obstructed justice. She is prepared to accept the consequences. Judge O'Connor looked at Victoria. Mrs. Caldwell, you provided your son the key card to a vault. You personally entered that vault and disabled the emergency release mechanism with engineering tools. You watched as your son sealed his pregnant wife inside at negative 50 Celsius. You then hired a PR firm to paint her as mentally unstable while she was in a hospital, recovering from hypothermia and emergency childbirth. Pause. You used your wealth, your position, and your intelligence to obstruct justice and enable attempted murder. Is that correct? Victoria, voice steady, No tears. Yes, Your Honor. Judge O'Connor. Sentencing will be December 22nd, December 20th, 2025. 10 a.m. I read my victim impact statement. 2 minutes. Voice steady. Your Honor, on November 19th, I was 32 weeks pregnant with my son. My husband locked me in a pharmaceutical vault at -50 degrees Celsius. He watched on a security camera as my body shut down, as I went into labor, as I gave birth alone on a frozen floor. My core temperature dropped to 92.1 Fahrenheit. Stage 3, hypothermia. My son was born weighing 3 pounds 9 ounces. Blue, not breathing. I revived him with frozen hands I couldn't feel. We spent 4 hours and 51 minutes in that vault. Ethan watched the entire time. He told me through the intercom that our son would grow up believing I was careless. He was wrong. Pause. Luca will grow up knowing his mother fought for truth. Fought for 12 patients Ethan tried to erase. Fought to survive. And won. I sat down. U.S. Attorney Kavanaugh recommended 22 years. Hugh Maddox requested leniency. 12 years. Mr. Caldwell's career is destroyed, his reputation ruined, his family shamed. He has accepted responsibility. Judge O'Connor pronounced sentence. Mr. Caldwell, you are a trained pharmacist. You took an oath to protect public health. Instead, you deleted 12 patients from a vaccine trial to protect profit. Then you locked your pregnant wife in a freezer and watched on camera as she gave birth alone. You hoped she would die, hoped your son would die. This was not a crime of passion. This was calculated, cold, premeditated, evil. Pause. The sentence of this court is 22 years in the custody of the Federal Bureau of Prisons. No possibility of parole. You will serve a minimum of 85% of your sentence, approximately 18 years and 8 months, before eligibility for good time release. Federal facility designation to be determined by BOP. Ethan stood, turned, looked at me one last time. I held Luca, 4 weeks old, healthy, thriving, stared back. Ethan's mouth opened, as if to speak, then closed. Marshall, let's go. Door shut. December 22nd, 2025, 2 p.m. U.S. Attorney. Victoria Caldwell's wealth does not exempt her from consequences. She used that wealth as a weapon to enable murder, to obstruct justice, to destroy a victim's credibility. Recommended: 15 years, $20 million fine, lifetime pharmaceutical industry ban. Bernard Hastings requested 8 years. Mrs. Caldwell is 66 years old. Health issues including hypertension and early-stage osteoporosis. First criminal offense. Decades of philanthropic work. Judge O'Connor sentenced: Mrs. Caldwell, you built a pharmaceutical company on your late husband's legacy. Then you protected fraud to preserve it. When your son locked his pregnant wife in a freezer, you provided the tools, the keycard, the sabotaged release, the PR campaign. You used your wealth not for philanthropy, but for covering up attempted murder. Pause. The sentence is 15 years in federal prison, $20 million in fines to be paid from your personal assets within 90 days, lifetime ban from holding any position in the pharmaceutical or biotechnology industries, and forfeiture of your 38% ownership in BioShield Therapeutics to the court-administered Victim Compensation Fund. Victoria gave a brief final statement. Your Honor, I protected my family. That is what mothers do. I was wrong in how I did it. But my intentions were to protect my son. Judge O'Connor replied, You didn't protect your family, Mrs. Caldwell. You protected a lie, and you nearly killed an innocent woman and her child in the process. That is not motherhood. That is complicity in evil. Bang of gavel. Victoria led away in handcuffs. I held Luca, whispered, It's over, baby. It's finally over. December 28th, 2025, 11 a.m. Emergency Family Court Petition. Judge Helena Frost. Same judge from custody hearing. I petition for legal name change. Zoila Brennan to Zoila Torres. Torres, my mother's maiden name. Minor child, Luca Caldwell to Luca Mateo Torres. Rational stated in petition. protection of minor child in domestic violence case, permanent disassociation from surname of convicted felon who attempted to murder petitioner and child. Minnesota statute allows emergency name change in domestic violence cases involving attempted murder. Judge Frost reviewed the petition, signed the order. Court order number 26-CV-PR-5829. Effective immediately. December 28, 2025. My name, and my son's name, no longer carried the weight of the people who tried to bury us. Soy la Torres, Luca Mateo Torres. Torres means towers in Spanish. Strong, standing, unshaken. December 30th, 2025. Luca discharged from NICU after 40 days. Born November 20th at 3 pounds 9 ounces. Discharge weight, 7 pounds 2 ounces. Pediatrician's final note. Remarkable recovery. No long-term effects from premature birth. No neurological damage from hypothermic exposure. Normal development milestones. Patient cleared for discharge to maternal care. The nurse who'd cared for him most, Nurse Sarah, hugged me. He's a miracle baby, Zoila. We've never seen a 32-week preemie born in those conditions survive without complications. He's strong. He gets it from his mama. I brought him to our new apartment. Not the home I'd shared with Ethan in Edina, a smaller place in Minneapolis. 2 bedrooms. Safe. Clean. Ours. Nathan visited that evening, brought a stuffed penguin. For the kid who survived the cold. We laughed. First real laugh in weeks. Nathan had accepted a position with the FDA Office of Criminal Investigations. December 20th. Based in Washington, D.C., but with frequent field assignments to Minneapolis, investigating pharmaceutical fraud cases, like ours. We weren't romantic, weren't headed that way. Allies, friends, family by choice. He saved our lives. I gave him purpose. That was enough. December 30th. Evening. I announced Cold Truth Initiative via press release, scheduled for January 2nd, 2026. A nonprofit. 501c3 application submitted December 29th. Expedited approval expected early January. Mission: support FDA and pharmaceutical whistleblowers with legal assistance, mental health counseling, job placement, and financial aid. Funding: $2.1 million from my settlement in the BioShield bankruptcy estate. As a primary victim, attempted murder, whistleblower retaliation, I was a priority creditor. Settlement agreed December 27th. Office space, Minneapolis, 1,200 square feet, donated by a local law firm specializing in whistleblower cases. Pre-registered whistleblowers, 73. People who'd contacted me through social media after my story went national. Hashtag Cold Truth. Rebecca Kowalski, patient 0284, cardiac arrest survivor, agreed to join as board member once incorporated. You gave us our voices back, Zoila. Now we amplify others who've been silenced. The name, Cold Truth Initiative, was deliberate. They tried to bury me in cold, tried to freeze the truth. Instead, we turned that cold into a weapon. Against corruption, against lies, against people who erase inconvenient truths. December 31st, 2025, 2300 hours. New Year's Eve. I stand at the window of our apartment. Luca asleep in his bassinet. Fireworks starting outside. Minneapolis skyline lit up. Midnight approaching. I look back at the past 64 days. October 28th to tonight. October 28th. I was Zoila Brennan. Clinical research coordinator, pregnant, trusting, naive. I found 12 deleted patients. November 2nd, Ethan erased them. November 16th, I reported to the FDA. November 19th, he locked me in the vault. November 20th, I gave birth at -50 Celsius. Luca survived. I survived. December 1st, FBI raided BioShield. December 12th, Victoria arrested in court. December 18th, Ethan pled guilty. December 20th, 22 years. No parole. December 22nd, Victoria sentenced. 15 years. December 23rd, BioShield bankrupt. December 28th, Name change. Torres. December 30th. Luca came home. Tonight, December 31st. New Year's Eve. End of 2025. Luca is 6 weeks old. 7 pounds 9 ounces. Healthy. No lasting damage from the coldest night. Ethan is in federal prison. Victoria is in federal prison. BioShield is gone. 12 patient families have justice. Class action lawsuit pending. Expected settlement over $150 million. 315 employees lost jobs. I carry that weight. But they were working for a company built on lies. Cold Truth Initiative launches January 2nd. 73 whistleblowers waiting. Nathan visits tomorrow. Brings Luca a New Year's gift. We're not romantic, just allies, friends, family. I look at Luca sleeping. Your father tried to bury us in cold, baby. He thought cold would kill us quietly. He was wrong. Cold didn't kill us, it forged us. And tomorrow, January 1st, 2026, we start building something they can never destroy. Truth. Fireworks explode outside, midnight. 2026 begins. I whisper to my son, some truths are worth freezing for, and some fires can't be put out. Softly. If this story moved you, if you believe truth matters more than profit, more than legacy, more than cold calculation, like this video. Subscribe, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Tell me in the comments, would you freeze for the truth? I did, my son did, and we're still standing. Rebecca Kowalski is still standing. Michael Torres, Sarah Jensen, all 12. We're all still here, because some truths are worth freezing for, and some fires can't be put out. My name is Zoila Torres, and I'm just getting started.